What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. How's everybody doing? The coffee's hot this morning. That's good. I hope you're having a really wonderful day. We're going to go through a dungeon that I did. Did a plus 15 Halls of Atonement, finally. I don't even think I got one done last season. I might have, but man, Halls of Atonement has been like my bane. I think it's one of the toughest dungeons to do correctly, to time, because everybody just has to be really like on point. The timer is very, very tight on this dungeon, and you have to pull sort of really big packs together, and they're all casting dangerous abilities. But there's a lot of really great things that Shaman brings in particular to this dungeon, including things like your DECURSE from Cleanse Spirit, Cap Totem, of course, being really, really essential for AoE, and then having the extra Earth Elemental to help taunt when you do pull in those really big packs. So Halls of Atonement is a tough dungeon. I'm going to run you guys through this. I just did a plus 15 Tyrannical. So grab your coffee. Let's talk about it. I'll go through my build, what I ran on the Enhancement Shaman, and of course, we'll get into the VOD, and I'll show you some sort of tips and tricks on the dungeon and what went well for us. So we ran Primal Lava Actuators. Of course, that is probably pretty standard for Mythic Plus stuff. It's very, very strong. I would recommend running this if you guys want to do really good Mythic Plus stuff. And the secondary effect, of course, we're Necrolord, so we get every additional Lightning Bolt from Primordial Wave gives us 10% haste for 12 seconds. So this is really, really strong, and we are running Necrolord. And when you combine this with, of course, the Primordial Wave reset conduit, it's very, very strong in Mythic Plus. And I was having a pretty heated argument, I guess you could say, with Hand Cannon in the YouTube comments, and he had some really, really good points. I don't want to dismiss any of his points that he made, and he was basically saying that you have to take Tumbling Waves in Mythic Plus stuff, and I think for the most part I agree. I think it's very strong in Mythic Plus to get the reset on Primordial Wave, because not only do you get to cleave those Lightning Bolts once again, which is a ton of damage, you get the haste buff once again. So it's really, really good in Mythic Plus. My argument was I was talking about taking Chill to the Core to help generate stacks of Maelstrom Weapon in moments when you can't generate a lot, which happens a lot with these fire builds. And I'm going to actually show you an example of that in this dungeon, near the end of the dungeon. But I would say, by and large, for the most part, in Mythic Plus, the Primordial Waves reset conduit is going to give you more value in the long run over Chill to the Core. There will be moments in dungeons, in single target, boss fights in particular, where you might struggle to get enough Maelstrom weapon stacks to actually use this buff effectively. But if that is the case, then you might just have to wait before you cast Primordial Wave for a couple seconds. Wait till you have some Maelstrom weapon stacks generated already, then cast your Primordial Wave so that you don't ever run the risk of not cashing in on this extra haste buff that you're going to get from the legendary effect. So just want to do a little caveat there that this is, I think, an essential conduit to take in Mythic Plus. I do think there's some value in Chill to the Core on certain builds, and that was kind of the point that I was making. But Hand Cannon has a very good point in the YouTube comments talking about the importance of Primordial Wave in Mythic Plus. It is really strong. To get a reset on it is absolutely insane damage, and it's also going to give you that haste buff again. So obviously, of course, we're also running Focus Lighting Magma Fist. That's the build. I'm running Marileth for the extra haste when you, or Mastery when you Fleshcraft. I have 73. You go up to 79% haste because of the Fleshcraft there. So that's the build that I ran. PLA, plus the talents here. This is what I ran as well. This is the last piece. So Lashing Flames, Hot Hand. This is the core of it, and Hailstorm instead of Fire Nova. Fire Nova is perfectly fine. I've just always had the discussion talking about how Fire Nova is easier to use and cashes in on a lot of AoE. But I do believe that over the long run, over the course of a dungeon, the Frost Shock Hailstorms can do more damage. Because Frost Shock has a 4.5 second cooldown. Fire Nova has a 12-second cooldown. So I can get almost 3 of these Frost Shocks in by the time I do one Fire Nova. And also on single target, I believe that this provides a lot more damage as well. So this is a Tyrannical week. So I was kind of hedging a little bit more towards the single target. Like, This just does straight up way more damage than Fire Nova does on a single target. Fire Nova does 1715. This only does 26. This does 2600. Sorry. When you get Maelstrom weapon stack, when you spend 5 Maelstrom weapon stacks, this goes up to like 4K. This Frost Shock goes up to 4K. So on single target, that's just way better value, right? And on a Tyrannical week, you're going to spend a lot longer fighting bosses. So I do think that this is a great setup. The Hailstorm sort of helps you dip into AoE in a great way. Maybe not as good as Fire Nova, but it still does good AoE damage. And then it really helps you on the single target damage, which is going to help a lot on Tyrannical Week. So this is kind of why I chose to do this build. Lashing Flames is amazing for AoE. You're going to see multiple clips of me getting to tab target through enemies and get the Lashing Flames buff on all of them. You're going to see that in just a second here. So that's my build, guys. Let's jump over to the VOD. To the VOD. Let me get another drink of coffee here. And let's talk about this dungeon. So we do the opening pack here. Somebody did a transmog change thing on stream, so I had to change. Oh, I did it again. Let's hit play. Somebody forgot to put the key in. Look at me. Look at me, I'm a Birdman now. Somebody changed me to be a Birdman, so this is not my fault. Okay, I did not choose this transmog. This was thrust upon me, all right? Here's the opening pack here. You're going to see, I'm going to start doing my notes over here. Okay. So the tank's going to pull stuff together. You want to get like 5 mobs together, and then you want to lust. Here we go. Lust. Here we go. Trying to spread. I got Primordial Wave out. I hit Lightning Bolt. So I'm about to hit Lightning Bolt. I've already got Lust Haste, which is 40%. I'm about to get like 50% more, so 90% additional haste. So I'll have like 120% haste. Watch how fast I can tab target through stuff. So the haste buff is on right now. So boom, look at my Lava Lash cooldown. Look at it. It doesn't have a cooldown. I can just press it. You can press Crash Lightning and Lava Lash. That's basically what you can do. And you're good to go. We're doing 23, 24k. Could have done better. I didn't play this super well. You can get up to like 26, 28k probably. And we didn't even pull that much. Might have actually wasted the haste buff a little bit there, the lust buff.
I feel like we didn't even have to lust that one, but that's okay.
We should have just pulled more. That's the solution, right? If you're gonna do that much damage, you need to just pull more stuff into the group. But that's okay. We end up bursting it.
Man off. Rick and Morty, that's right. Exactly.
Here's the next pull. We have Primordial Wave back again, I think, because we got the reset, which is fantastic. I can decurse myself. That's going to happen multiple times throughout the dungeon. Your decurse is so huge in this dungeon. Okay, so we have a haste buff rolling right now. Watch my cooldown on Lava Lash. Lava Lash, Lava Lash, Lava Lash. Tab target, Lava Lash. Tab target, Lava Lash. Tab target, Lava Lash. See what I did there? I just rotated around, and I tab targeted through everybody and hit Lava Lash every single time. And now I'm doing, 18k. Just basically from that. Like, I had a hot hand buff, so obviously my Lava Lash itself was doing a ton of damage, but the value of the haste buff from Primordial Wave is disgusting. It lets you pull off combos like this, where you can just do crazy, crazy passive damage just from the ticking of your flame shocks. It's really crazy. And the haste from Primordial Wave also makes those flame shocks tick faster, which buffs your PLA, gets your PLA going a lot quicker, right? So that's that. I just wanted to show you, like, there's multiple AoE packs here where we're doing 17 to 20k sustained AoE just all the time because of this combination. I don't even have my tier set yet, which it would be even crazier if we were getting like multiple fire dogs. So let's move forward to 30.05. We take care of this pack here. Good old Shades. Spiteful's actually not as bad as I used to think it was. It's still annoying, but it's not too bad, honestly. Spread it around. Lightning bolts are going. We have a haste buff, and we got a reset on Primordial Wave. So we're doing 17k. We're going to wait for our haste buff to fall off. 4, 3, 2, 1. I think I cast Primordial Wave here again. There it is. Lightning bolt again. We're back in the haste buff again. We're doing 20k. This is what you can do with the straight regular rotation because of how well it all kind of works together, right? We got 20 seconds straight of you know, 50% additional haste. I don't know how you beat that. Like, that's just really strong, right? That's just really, really strong. So, love that. We really love that 19k DPS there.
We're crushing it, baby.
Yeah, it's really good.
Where's he going?
Let's go to 34. One more AoE pull here just to show you. Again, your AoE on this build, your AoE scales up with the more targets you can get Flame Shock on. So 6 is the maximum, but I'm just tab targeting through and hitting all these guys. 22k DPS because we just tab target through and hit everybody with the Lashing Flames debuff. Now, again, Fire Nova here is probably just way easier to play, and I think on my next dungeon I will try using Fire Nova, but you will suffer on single target quite a bit, I think. But in AoE, I think Fire Nova would be perfectly fine here. It would probably be more damage on AoE, but would definitely hurt you on single target. So it's up to you. Here's the first boss fight. This is Halkias. The tank kind of does a strange job here of positioning. This fight's really all about the tank positioning, and he kind of does a frustrating job. We do pull in some extra adds, which is okay, but I'm getting shot here, and I'm in a really bad spot, and I don't really realize it till it's too late. I get hit right there, and then I'm getting hit by one of the adds, so I needed to play this better, but the tank just, like, was positioning this in a really poor way. In my opinion, he need to move like sooner out to the other areas. Like, there's so much room in this area, in this boss fight area. There's so much room to fight, and you can see the melee just struggling. Like, look at the rogue. Watch how low the rogue gets here. We're just struggling to find places to like fight because there's so much crap on the ground. And so anyway, we get through this initial part. I run into another crumbling storm. That one was my fault. I'm just not paying attention to the crumbling slam, so I'm being an idiot. And then he's in an okay spot here. I'm kind of have to stand on bad. This one's fine. His next reflected Sinlight is not as good. One tip or trick I want to give you guys if you're tanking this is that if he puts a slam down on the ground, he puts these big slams down on the ground, just move the boss right into the middle of that puddle. That's all you have to do, because everybody will be able to melee the boss from around the outside of that puddle. So it's sort of an easy thing to do. I'll show you in a second. Now, you know, we don't have a clear puddle here. We need to move right out of all these. He's standing. He needs to move the boss back more.
Hey, Fury, how are you?
Because we're now once I swing around to this area over here, I'm in trouble. So
happy Friday. Good to see you.
So this is a little bit
Friday
tough.
night, baby.
I was talking to chat there. This is just, it's a minor thing, but I take a ton of damage here, right? Because there's nowhere to really go. So I have to walk out of the puddle and heal myself, and that's okay. But he needs to just position a little bit better. But for us in our damage, we're doing 12.2k. This is without lust. You don't lust this fight, right? So it's just really strong. Once again, I get hit. That's my fault. This build is really strong at both single target and AoE. It has a really, it flexes into both. And that's because when you get a hot hand proc, it just does tons of damage onto one target, of course, and you can funnel any flame shocks that you have rolling into that one target. But it's just really, really good. So we do end up killing him, do almost about 11k overall here, which is really great. Again, I do think the Frost Shock helps out quite a bit.
I'm doing a 50.
Let me just look really, really quickly at what we did for Frost Shock damage there on Halkias. So Frost Shock did almost 7% of our damage. If you had Fire Nova there, it would not have done the same. So that's just, you know, that's just a little minor thing there, but it's definitely, Frost Shock will help you a lot on tyrannical weeks for sure.
Here.
So let me look at
so I think we're doing okay.
The next pack. I think we'll just go right to the next boss, which is Echelon 49, 39, 54.
Hallie's got this.
We're doing 23k in the opener. This one's really good. You can cheat your Primordial Wave a little bit here by spreading Flame Shocks around and trying to get the Lightning Bolt to cleave all of them. And it'll give you, like, instead of only getting 10% haste, you can get like 50% haste, right? So really insane. Also, you can decurse yourself on this fight which is absolutely critical. You can keep doing more damage. So watch when the curse comes in here in about 10 seconds or so. You'll see that I'm just able to just immediately decurse myself and continue to do damage, which is really good. There's the Curse of Stone right here. I decurse myself right now. I can keep doing damage, keep hitting the boss, which is so fantastic. It's just really good. I think you can do it with the Dark Iron Dwarf racial as well that I've got. So here's my Primordial Wave Lightning Bolt. I just hit 4 targets there for a huge amount of haste. That's what you can do on this fight. Really, really good. So again, the curse will be coming again. I think I get targeted with the curse. I get not the curse, but the actual circle. So then I take the curse off myself, and then I can reposition perfectly. And I Fleshcraft here. This is a great time to Fleshcraft because he does a lot of damage to the target he jumps on, and I just mitigate almost all of it. It's a perfect time to Fleshcraft, guys. That's a really good combo there. So decurse yourself, go get in position to kill the ads that are on the ground, and then decurse yourself, or then Fleshcraft. Sorry, really, really good defensive combos that you have as the shaman in this build. So there we end up doing, I think, I don't know, 13k overall, almost 14k. Really, really great. Love that fight. That's like the pinnacle of this
nice
dungeon.
That's good.
If you get past this fight, then
Clean damage.
you're kind of golden. You're really laughing after that. So Pally pulls everything out here. Let's move ahead to the next boss fight. A little bit ahead of it. So again, in the opener here, sorry, I'll back up just a little bit, guys. In the opener here, you have your Primordial Wave. You want to make sure you get 4 lightning bolts off here, right? So I press it right. I'm struggling to get Maelstrom weapon stacks. I actually don't get it in time. So again, this is like my argument sometimes for Chilled to the Core, is that sometimes on a boss fight in the opener, you can't get enough Maelstrom weapon stacks right away. And I had dogs out, and I pressed Crash Lightning, I think twice, and I didn't get it. So I just got unlucky there, but we get 20% haste instead, which is perfectly fine. And on this fight, once again, we're going to get the cooldown reduction from which is really good anyway. So you see my Primordial Wave will come back off cooldown. Right here. Make sure you kick volley, really important. The only extra tips that you can sort of do with this is that you do have a pretty versatile build. If you get targeted by the fixation, you can press Frost Shock. You can hit them with Crash Lightning. The tank did a really good job of tanking near an active urn so that if the melee get targeted with the ad thing, then you don't really lose any damage, right? So really, really great job by the tank, honestly. He was pretty fantastic. I don't know. I'm not sure what we did here. We got fixated twice, which was annoying. We did about... sorry. We did about, yeah, 10k. Not bad. Could have been better, for sure. But you can always do better, right? You can always play better. So the next room, they asked if you want to do single target in the next room or AoE. My suggestion is to just always do AoE. This is not even a fortified week. This is a tyrannical week, but I still think you should do AoE. It's just, it'll take you like literally 60 seconds to clear this room. So it doesn't take that long versus trying to kill the guy. And if you try and kill the guy by himself and you screw it up, then it's going to take way more than 60 seconds, right? You'll spend like 30, 40 seconds trying to kill him. Then he'll do his channel thing. And then you're like screwed. So we had good AoE. We have a prop paladin who can, do big AoE. And I'm doing sort of the lightning bolts with the cleaves and stuff. It just works out really well, guys. You don't need to do the single target guy. Look we're almost done this room already. It might take 1.5 minutes, maybe tops, and then you're done this room, and then you can move on with your life. So I just think that you should always do this room as an AoE. Most classes have better AoE than they have single target anyway, and you'll be able to clear this out pretty quickly. So we end up clearing this room, and we end up on the final boss, Lord Chamberlain. Now, we've got 9 minutes left. We're doing really well. Everybody's doing a good job on this. Get your totem down and start. We can't even lust yet because we're pumping the dungeon so quickly, which is great. Our opener, I get bounced right here. This is really tragic. Our opener was really, really good. We were doing good damage, and then I make the mistake of not moving far enough away. So when he throws the pillar, you really do need to get at a dodge. We have so many melee here. We have a melee tank. We have a melee healer. and then we have me and the rogue. So, you know, 80% of the group is melee. So that was, I needed to move really far away, and I didn't. And I get bounced into another pillar and die. So that was pretty funny. So the guy gets me up, and my damage is pretty bad for the rest of this fight because we kind of lost our initial buff there. But having four melee makes this fight a little bit more challenging on that front. So then I end up throwing out, I think it happens right here, right? Yeah. So I throw a Primordial Wave right here. Here we go. Sorry. Let me just show it. Primordial Wave goes out right now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I couldn't generate enough stacks to use it to get a lightning bolt off. I have 2 Maelstrom Weapon stacks. I have 3 now. I pressed Crash Lightning in that window. I pressed my dogs in that. I don't know if the dogs weren't in that window. I don't think, because I had died, but I wasn't able to get off a Primordial Wave Lightning Bolt there to get the haste buff. So that's pretty unlucky. I would say that's pretty unlucky. But this is what I was trying to say earlier about the whole chill to the core conduit with Frost Shock. There are times on boss fights like this where it's really good. Here's another Primordial Wave. I send my Primordial Wave out. I've got 3 stacks. Now I have to respect a mechanic. I have to be kind of careful here. I go back in. I do end up getting 5 stacks. Spend my Lightning Bolt just as the Primordial Wave buff is falling off. So that time I get it all done. But you can get sort of tragically unlucky in some of these moments and not get the haste buff. But the majority of the time in Mythic Plus, especially on AoE, you're going to get that haste buff from Primordial Wave. It's going to be fine. So I just think that there are definitely, like, if you were running maybe a Witch Doctor Wolfbones build in these kinds of dungeons, then maybe Chill to the Core is a much better take then, because you're not focusing quite as much on the fire stuff because you don't have PLA, right? So anyway, we end up getting Lord Chamberlain down. It's not too hard. You just have to keep dodging pillars, of course, and we do pretty bad damage overall. We probably could have done 10k overall, but I ended up dying at the beginning there and losing a whole bunch of momentum. So
Why so?
we had a huge haste buff at the beginning that kind of got dropped, but that's it.
Serious. I was just trying to get that dungeon done.
We got 29 rating from that, so I'm above 2,400 now, which is pretty cool. That feels really good, and this was the damage breakdown overall. Let's take a look at it. So we ended up doing, that's just for him. Let's go to overall. We ended up doing almost 13k overall. Could have done more, but we just, again, messed up on the final boss there. Flame Shock, Lava Lash, of course, are going to be about 40% of your damage. Huge, huge Lava Lash hits. Had some crits for 32k. Lightning Bolts are, of course, also going to be enormous. You get the cleave from Primordial Wave. It's really, really strong. Getting the resets are really good. And then there's my Frost Shock damage. Almost 10%. Almost 10% over the course of the dungeon. It's really, really good. It just works really well as an AoE button. And I think over the course of a dungeon, it can do more damage than Fire Nova. But I do think, again, Fire Nova is perfectly fine to take and will do a lot of damage in the big AoE packs when you pull them all together. So this is the build that we kind of did, and that's the damage breakdown at the end of the day. I will say a couple tips and tricks for Halls of Atonement. Of course, use your DECURSE. Very, very important to use your DECURSE to get rid of. There's a bunch of curses that are in that dungeon. On the second boss fight, you can decurse yourself to make sure that you don't get stunned. Very strong. Very important that you do that. And then there's also multiple moments to cleave your Primordial Wave buff to make sure that you're getting the maximum amount that you can on every single boss fight. You'll have those relics spawning at the beginning. Make sure that you use the relics to get a 40% haste buff instead of just a 10% haste buff. That's also really important. And besides that, of course, Fleshcraft is going to keep you alive in so many moments when you might otherwise die. So that's Halls of Atonement, and that's with Primal Lava Actuators as a Necrolord using Magma Fist, Tumbling Waves, Focus Lighting. That was the build that we ran. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like down below. I really appreciate it. It helps out quite a bit. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you doing with your life? Get down there and press the red button. I would really appreciate that as well. Until the next one, guys, we'll see you later.